All right. Good morning. Good morning to those of you here. I didn't realize that I had a waiting room set up. So I'll just keep an eye on it, make sure I get everyone let in. You should see my screen as you come. Let me make sure that our chat settings are appropriate. Let's see, chat. Everyone. I believe I believe that you can send your message to everyone. Good morning. If you guys can let me know, you can see my screen, hear my voice. Good morning. Thank you, Lee. We'll give it another minute or two. Any problems? Good morning, Paul. Good to see you. Any problems since we've shifted? Um, Getting in to any of the meetings that we've had so far, let me know. Thank you, Lee. Good morning, Kevin. Good to see you. We'll give it just another minute or so. Excuse me. All right. Let me get this recording going. Good morning, Sandy. And officially, good morning. Welcome everyone to the it's you had a problem entering, had to try entering twice. Could you let me know specifically? Was that like you feel like that was a Zoom issue? Was it like when you left? If you have problems like that, give me make a note of it, and that should help in troubleshooting it. But hopefully, if you're on a mobile, and if you are, let me know that you're having no problem getting into the meetings with mobile. I need to change my slides. We're doing a little bit of content shifting in how we're pushing things. Obviously, this is still our midweek check-in though, just to see what's happening, to see, hey, how bad is it? Was it? Do we think it's going to be? So let's get into it. As always, this is for education illustrative purposes only. We're not brokers. We're not advisors. We don't give trading recommendations or specific investment advice. And let's talk about what we are going to do today. So, as I checked in with Glenn and in the conversations he's had, as I've been asking, what are you doing? What are you in? Here's what I find that even though we remain bullish, the pullback is enough that a lot of people are in less trades, which makes sense. I mean, it's like, hey, I'm imagining we took a few losses, but hopefully not that many. One of the things that I definitely want to check in with is how are your routines? How are your checklists? Your check-ins with yourself. So right now, um, we look at this market and it had a pullback. It's nothing that big relative to what we can see. We look at the underlying variables and we say everything is holding up, right? Certainly, there's some um, trepidation about the likelihood of an actual full scale tariff bonanza. You're starting to see people who are like, wait, is that just rhetoric? Or does he really want to put a bunch of tariffs on? So, yeah, I think we're just kind of seeing that play out. But overall, the fundamentals have stayed strong. And so, what is my mindset for open trades? If I'm in it, I'm going to stay with it because it's already been through what the worst, at least for now. So, that's one thing that we're thinking about. Are you thinking about new trades? That's probably the bigger question. And I'd love to hear you guys weigh in on this, but how is the risk in your account now? Not just relative to what it's been. Of course, it's lower than what it's been because we've been bullish, and so we've had good amounts of risk on. How is your level of risk now relative to how much you're willing to have now? Right? So are you looking at your trades thinking, I'm willing to get trades on. I want to get trades on. I just need to be convinced of new trades. Are you just holding the trades that you have, but you're reluctant to put new trades on because of losses taken recently? Um, Give me a sense. I'd love to hear about it. We're going to revisit the posture. We'll talk about some open trades. We'll look at our opportunity list, explore setups. Um, that's what we'll do. So, yeah, let's start here. Let me just make sure with the futures. Okay, let's take a look. So we were positive, we dipped, and now we're just holding on. We're close. Zero point zero 0.02 down for the um for the S&P, 0.03 up for the Dow, 0.07 down for the Nasdaq. And then the Russell's kind of getting a little bit more hit on this. Um, right? You can see that the small caps have dipped into negative. They're down a little bit more. Gold is up, oil is up. Um, yeah. What's the conversation? You can see where it is. Trump considers a emergency declaration for tariffs. Uh, the jobless claims unexpectedly fall. You can see where they are. Private payrolls. That's one here. Um, did they move the? They did move it, didn't they? They shifted jobless claims. So private payrolls fall. Um, but I mean, they say sharply. I think that as you look at this week and you look at what we have, job openings came in stronger than expected. That was yesterday. That's a great question, Press. We'll talk about that. Um, I love it. Sandy shared. I'm a bit more cautious. Last three trades went belly up. Press said me too. All the indicators were there, but it just didn't work out. Um, Questions would be how well did you keep the loss? Was it less than expected? As expected? Did you get out when you were supposed to? Did you hesitate? Because if you followed your rules, you took three losses. Yeah, it's no one's happy about it, but it definitely is recoverable, right? So if we have the ability to recover from that, then obviously that's the objective. Okay. Okay. What else? Sorry, I saw those come in. Holding several trades and losses. We'll have to close if the losses continue. Um, had a goal I wanted to reach by the end of the year. I reached that goal on the first day of this year. Take a break from actual trading. Okay. Um, Want to get into new trades. I love it. So one thing, this is something that Glenn and I have been talking about. One thing is that we really would like to see more of these conversations happening on Circle. Posting, commenting. We're gonna start pulling questions for like Tuesday and Thursday nights. For some of our Q&As, we're gonna start pulling questions from Circle. So we definitely want to have um, more of that conversation, more where you're sharing with each other, and you can see it can be very helpful to share in that regard. Um, okay, okay. What else about employment? So job openings came in much stronger than expected. ADP employment. So what's the difference? Press asked. ADP is the company, right? They process payroll for, something like 6 million, not companies, but through the companies they process payroll for, they process like 6 million people's worth of payroll. And so, in that regard, they basically have created their own indicator of where they keep tabs on how many new jobs in the private sector, so that they're doing private payrolls. And then Department of Labor on Friday, that's the government, so it's basically private versus government processing of the information. And can we trust one more than the other? Not really. Not really. Okay, so let's keep talking. Tomorrow, don't forget, markets closed. Uh, except for the bond market. I think the bond market stays open, but the stock market's effectively closed, and the government shuts down for President Carter's funeral in observance. There's still apparently some Fed speak that's going to be happening. Remember, today we have Fed minutes. So we've already gotten all of that early information. Fed minutes will be released later this afternoon. I don't think there's much that we're looking for there, quite honestly. Yeah, I mean, I think it's just a matter of uh you know, where do we see the Fed pushing rates? Everyone sees there being a pause, at least temporarily. So, um, yeah, I don't think that there's much that we're looking for by way of the Fed right now. Okay, what else? Sandy says, I'm feeling my attitude to losing is better, accepting is part of trading, not taking it personally or a reflection of part of my skills. Actually, actually, I think it is a reflection. Losing better is a reflection of the development of additional skills, necessary skills. No one really thinks, "Oh, I really need to work on being better at losing," but you do, right? I mean, that's a great comment and one that I would say is being better at losing. I told people I make it like a pride thing. Like I'm better at losing than you are. So, yes, Friday we have non-farm payrolls expected to drop, but still in a maintenance level. So the 2025 beginning labor market is strong. Unemployment's holding at 4.2. Jobless claims are down. Jobs are available, and new jobs are steady as she goes. Okay. Next week we get back to some inflationary data. We know the Fed is still keeping an eye on inflationary data. We still want to watch it, but it's not as close. It's kind of like now we're going to settle in. Now the market's going to be more concerned, less concerned about the Fed. The Fed's done some good stuff. It's sitting there, it's poised. Now it's more about the transition. How is the transition going to go? Okay, let's go take a peek. So anytime we have markets like that, of course, we're like, are we going to get a bounce? You can see the last time we had the big one, it actually bounced on the open, but then it failed and slipped a little more. Would that be catastrophic if this thing retested this one more time? Not if it held. If we're bullish, would we prefer that this thing stabilizes and bounces and actually continues to hold that blue support line, that trend line we have? Yeah, that would be better. Of course I would. Of course, that's what we're all looking for here. If you have bullish trades on, you're looking for right now to stabilize. We're looking for this to hold support here at what would be a higher level than these were. Not by much. We got what we wanted. That this is what gave us signals. Why you're in trades, why you got into trades that maybe got hit. Um, uh, so okay. Um, what does that mean for us? If you're a beginner and you're like, oh man, we had a bad day yesterday, and what do I do today? My thought process is exactly this. If I've already weathered the storm, I need to think, why would I take a loss now? I think that Steve's process, was it Steve who said that? I think it was, um, yeah, holding some losses. If they get worse, he's saying, if they get worse, then he'll look to reverse course. But if it holds, then I agree with that. Additional to that, if it holds, right now, we would describe this as a hiccup. right? Oops. We came down here on this. Buyers came back. Sellers higher low. That's a signal. We got this. If you took bullish trades here and you ended up taking losses on them, would I be like, oh yeah, you missed something on the signal? Um, so in this situation, the the um, next steps for us are getting developed as we watch today's market. If something caused you to stop out yesterday, great. Then you're out. Then you're not really worried about it. If you stayed into yesterday, there's nothing today other than if individually, right? We'll go through the watch list individually. We see stocks that are um, holding support levels, and we're looking for things to a keep us in the existing trades. Because if this is just a hiccup and we get this new signal, we're fine. And we're going to look to see if this continues its bullishness because we're bullish. If it breaks and it breaks through this, well, then we have whole different conversations to have. But that hasn't happened yet. I'm not going to even think about that until it happens. What do we have right now? Stability from yesterday's selling, at least preliminary. It's moving down a little from the open, but not much. And we'll go from there. So I'm in agreement. If I have a bullish trade that I'm still in now, most likely I'm going to hold it today unless it does something that breaks through a support level. That changes everything. Then we're going to look to exit. If I'm looking to exit, there's a very good chance I'm not looking to exit and enter at the same time. If I'm looking to hold existing trades, um, then um, then I'm going to add the addition of looking for some new trades. Okay, so let's take a look at that. Okay. Oh, get me. Sorry, I'm trying to get to my watch list. Actually, before I go to the watch list, let's take a look at the VIX. Okay, so what are we seeing here? Is this enough to spook us? We're still sub 20, right? We're still below 20. And if you look here, we're still hanging out below these lows. I could see there being just a little concern there. Did anybody hedge? I said that I ultimately did not end up hedging. Did anybody put a hedge on? Um, Let me know. I'd be interested to see. Okay, let's get to the watch list. Where did we still have some potentials for entry? I still thought that Apple might. You can see not the way it looks today, right? Not the way it looks today. If it gets to If it gets to a positive place by the end of today, then that'll change the story significantly, right? It'll be a very, very different story in that situation. Let's take a look at what that might look like. Honestly, press, my rule said yes, and I held off. Let me go back to that. It was a technical higher low yesterday, but I waited to the end of the day. And when I found myself at that point, I still was like, I'm holding. So what I would say for me, so this was a higher low here when this overtook this one. But with it just being so quick, I'm like, I'm gonna hold and see. For me, I'm gonna basically use this at the end. If we're above this, well, it's not really much of a hedge if you don't have a if you don't have a lot of bullish on right now, right? If you don't have a lot of bullish trades on right now, then it's not there's nothing to hedge. Um, so yeah, that's something to be thinking about is, well, do I need a hedge, or do I want a hedge, or does this become even bearishly speculative? So this would be viable to put a trade on, and right now, if you had a hedge, if you had a bullish or bearish trade on, it would be up a little bit, not much, right? Fairly marginal. Um, right? So, okay. Let's see. When you put a hedge, do you put it for every bullish trade you're in? No. Sam, that's an amazing question. I look at a hedge as just adding one position of bearishness. So if I had, let's say, 5 or 6 bullish trades on, and they're each at 2% risk, I might be 10 to 12% at risk, right? Um, per trade. And so, with that in mind, um, with that in mind, if if I add one bearish trade, it's going to be 2% risk, just like the others. What happens though, what happens though is the um if the bearishness happens, if the turn in the market comes, one of those bullish trades, maybe I take profit because it's in a profitable position. So one or two of them, I take some profit, and then I start shutting them down as the market's dropping. I'm shutting down those bullish trades. Right now, there's three. Now there's two. Now there's only one, and I still have the bearish trade. So as I'm kind of hopefully taking some profits, taking some break evens, keeping some losses small on my bullish trades, hopefully what's happening at that point is that I'm then um, watching the bullish hedge, or excuse me, the bearish hedge trade is starting to do much better. It's making money. And then I manage that so that if it's just a small pullback, maybe I absorb the loss better. If it turns into a big pullback, maybe my bearish trade ends up producing enough profit that I've had times where I didn't take new bullish trades, right? In that situation, I'm not going to take new bullish trades. So that's what the hedge is for. It's not like we're trying to dollar for dollar match it. We're trying to get something on early that as the market is transitioning, um, right? As the market is transitioning, we're we're able to absorb it, not have as much on a pullback, on a consolidation or correction, whatever it becomes in the market, and then everything's looking pretty good. Okay, well, that's a great question. Let's keep going. So that's what I'm looking for, Press. If you hedged, I would be like, yeah, you did the right thing. I did kind of a discretionary hold off just based on market posture and everything else. So yeah. Okay, let's get to the full watch list now. Okay. Apple is where I was. If it can hold up where it ends up looking like this by the end of the day, which is what it would look like if it turned bullish, and certainly that could happen, right? We could very easily see that. Um, yeah. So, but not yet, and it hasn't. A lot of it's going to depend on if it can hold on to that 50 or not. So we'll see Amazon trying to stabilize after a little hiccup. APP stabilize. We'll see if some of these can end up producing that or not. Okay. BAC, Bank of America is looking pretty strong here. So there's yeah, yeah, that looks pretty good. Let's keep going. BK, tell me if I pop on one that you like. Let's keep going. There's potential for these holding on to some of these new higher lows. Here is CLS looking strong, looking like it's gonna move still. Okay. CNK. You can see what we're finding, and that is stability, at least initially. Right? It moved up. This is still viable in potentially turning into a setup here. So, you know, that's important for us to see and to recognize. Cisco still setting up. That's one. As long as it can hold. Okay, let's keep going. Here is Delta. You and me are over CMG. If it breaks out, I'll reinvigorate with it. I'm gonna keep my eye on it because I like it. Honestly, once I see this happen, right, then we'll have more to talk about. It will come. Just waiting, being patient. Bitcoin, iffy. GE Vernova is flagging. That looks bullish right there. Very strong up, new high. Now we have a little flag developing. There is a window in here setting up for us that we're thinking about. Okay. Let's see. Whoops, that's drying on me. Let me keep drawing here. Gold. Nothing is happening much with gold. Okay, let's keep going. GM, Google. Oh, we like Google. Look at Google. It's trying to hold up, trying to hold up in its leading position. I like that. Goldman is still holding up. Nothing for Home Depot. HWM is another one we were looking at that looks like it could be doing pretty well. Okay. IBM. Patience. That's what this watch list is telling me right now. We know we have good, strong things on the watch list. IWM is trying to hold support. JCI trying to hold support. KKR. Okay. Press says patience is definitely the picture forming here. Absolutely, it is. MasterCard is down. I'm not as interested as it broke down that level there. Meta, I think we have a nice cup and handle forming here. Boom, boom, boom. Above the 50. Um, Real strong here, looking good. Okay, let's keep looking. Two of your lost trades, Sandy said, KKR and Apple. Well, those are strong stocks, right? Those are strong stocks. Morgan Stanley, Microsoft, NDAQ is down, Netflix. Let's see. Netflix is holding up. Nvidia trying to stabilize. It's a volatile one, right? It is a volatile one. But if you have but if you have the stomach for it, it's got some opportunity in there. PLTR's trying to find some stability on that 50-day moving average now, right? So we'll see if it's able to find that. PayPal. PayPal looks like it could just be going through a bit of a hiccup. We'll see about that. Here's the queues, Roblox. I still think there's plenty of strength in these communication services, right? Look at Roblox and Reddit. Still very, very strong looking stocks. There's plenty of opportunity for us in these. Rocket Lab, mild pullbacks. There's strength out there. We can see where the leaders are. The leaders are definitely trying to um, The leaders are in a position where they're uh, holding up and still showing strength. SPY. Let's see where we stand now on today's range. That's going to be useful to help us as we get into the afternoon. So we dropped, we moved up, we dropped. Our opening range is in place. If we break down below 587, if we break below 587, it's definitely going to be a challenge for the market. Um, if we can break above 589, I think the market's going to recover some of this. Okay, let me get back. What time is it? A couple minutes left before we're wrapping it up here. TJX, no. T-Mobile, no. Toast, yeah. It's so you can still see where we do have some strength. Tesla, maybe. Taiwan Semiconductor. I think Taiwan looks actually quite strong on this pullback, and I think it's going to be um, setting up, right? Okay. TTD, maybe, maybe. Twillo, Upwork. Here's what I don't see. I don't see a lot of things smashing below their 50s. I don't see a lot of things that are struggling. I see them holding their support levels. VIX is still a bit iffy here. Um, yeah, here is VRT. Minor pullback, still looks strong. Here is VSCO. Not yet. Here is Walmart. Walmart is one we looked at bullishly. Looks like it could be trying to turn around again. And let's jump down to Zillow. Ooh, Zillow might be losing its ground. It might be getting kicked off the list, which is fine. We have plenty that are still on. I still like communication services. I still like technology. I still think that financials and industrials are trying to hold support and stay in their leading positions. So yeah, for now, I think everything looks just fine. Okay, so what's the schedule look like? This afternoon, Glenn will be here for the last hour. Really make it a Q&A. Bring specific trades, bring questions, put questions into chats in Circle. Let's try to step up our communication with each other. We're going to try to bring those questions if they don't get answered live on the community, then we'll bring them and answer them in the Q&A sessions and in the working sessions. So hopefully you will do that. Keep us posted on if the this format change is helpful to really get some questions answered, and then we'll go from there. Tomorrow, markets close, but we are still going to have our foundations sessions. So make sure that you show up for those. Okay. Anything else? It's great to see everybody. Have a great rest of your day. And as always, happy trading.